Sevgili dostlar, merhabalar, hoş geldiniz. Hızlıca bir kaydı başlatıyorum. Bir saniye. Hemen bir kaydımı başlatayım. Hello everyone, welcome, welcome. I'm quickly starting our recording. Welcome, welcome. I guess we mostly have Turkish, but just in case. Hoş geldiniz. Bugün sevgili Josh ve Reyna ile birlikteyiz ve bize mükemmel bir konu hazırladılar. Uygulayıcı ve eğitmen köprüsü. Hem nasıl aynı oluruz hem de nasıl bir yol haritası oluruz. Tabii ki 7. seviyeden gelen bilgileri bizimle paylaşıyor olacaklar. Birazdan onları karşılıyor olacağız. Şu anda çeviri butonunu görmediğinizi biliyorum. Ekranınızın altında dünya ikonu birazdan ayarladığımda ekrana konuşmak için ayarlamadım. Birazdan ayarlanmış olacak ve bir yardıma ihtiyacınız olursa chat'e yazabilirsiniz. Yardım hemen gelecektir. Welcome, welcome. We will be having in a minute wonderful Josh and Reina. They will be speaking about how to be a map, at the same time how to be a mirror for our clients, students. So I guess we have mainly Turkish, but just in case, I'm also welcoming them and you in English. So Josh and Reina, if you're ready, we can start. And I'm setting the translation now. Şimdi çeviriyi ayarlıyorum. Oh, hi. We have English speaker friends. Very nice. I'm setting the translation. Çeviriyi ayarlıyorum. Seçebilirsiniz.
Hey everyone, thanks for the introduction. That was awesome. So happy to see all of you. Good afternoon. Some of you, it's actually midday, but so happy. It's always a great day. But
Yeah.
before we begin anything, can we scan all of you? Beautiful hearts. All right, let's walk up to the creator of all that is. Everybody close your eyes, take a deep breath in and gather all the energy from the bottoms of your feet. Go through your space. You see yourself in a beautiful ball of light. Can be any color, but take it up to the sky and the universe. A series of white lights, dark lights, and golden light. All the way up through that jelly-like substance and into that tingly white light. Let unconditional love fill every cell of your body. While you're there, say, Creator, thank you for my life. Take a deep breath in and open your eyes. Okay. You ready?
I think I'm ready.
Mirror in the map.
I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
So ready.
Are you guys ready?
All
right.
Practitioner to instructor.
It's kind of funny. I had this conversation, and I was telling this to Raina in the kitchen. It was somebody who'd done a lot of work, and I get this a lot actually when people will do belief work with us, and then they ask us,
why is it so different?
Yeah, why do you do belief work different than what I expected, right? And the answer is because we're there to help this session, right? So oftentimes when we learn something, we apply different things and we know how it's applied and that it's applied. And the nice thing about theta healing is it's all about tools, right? It's all about different tools and opportunities to connect and step into, and then taking those tools and adding to your tool belt. Right. So when you first kind of do even just the first practitioner level class, you're getting some tools, you're opening intuition, and you're building this little tool belt. Well, when you really get going down the road, you get more tools.
Absolutely. You get to choose which way and styles you're going to do digging and which way is going to be best fit for the person in front of you. Not necessarily what's best for you, but for them. And you're trusting that connection with your seventh plane creation energy to help guide you so you can help go through whatever it is that they need on their end.
So basically, we had like 2 sessions where we just talked, and they were like, you just talk a little bit, and then we do some downloads at the end, and then we pick up where we left off. And I said, yeah. They're like, well, what is it? I was like, well, it's kind of the long way. It's kind of the long way of belief work, right? But it's an important way, because right now, when we first started doing our sessions, you were sitting there thinking, how am I supposed to answer? What am I supposed to answer? Where am I going to go? And how am I going to do different things? Excuse me for a second.
We're just putting this back on the screen. One moment. There we go. Okay.
And when we kind of have that collection of information, you're not really digging, you're anticipating. See, digging is not I'm anticipating what question you're going to ask, and I already know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
That goes against going into your subconscious. That's your conscious brain kind of connecting and trying to get ahead of it. It's your survival self.
And as you know, when we use our survival self, that kind of can pull us out of that seventh plane and allow us to really stay connected so that we can help the person in front of us best.
Well, whenever you're working with somebody, a class, a person right in front of you, instantly there's a communication of their cells. This is what I expect to happen. And that is not the way to healing whatever it is they want to work on.
So the first thing that you do is, of course, you connect and then you let it all be guided and you kind of push all those expectations to the side.
But even right now, we scan all of you, and there's quite a few of you here, and you guys are doing wonderful, and we love to see your faces. And you all have the expectation of kind of what's going to transpire a little bit, what might be talked about, right? As an intuitive, that's something you pick up on. If you're the person that's stepping into that energy as a practitioner, or even as a friend of expectation of the moment, your cells are making a decision.
Do I want to be influenced by the majority of people or the people that feel this way or that way? Or am I pulled out of my own self of who I really am? Or am I going to trust my own self, my connection, and just keep being that authentic person and move forward for what they need to hear?
Yeah. Can you go up and say, all right, how do I stay myself and give them what they need? And that kind of creates a lot of pressure too, because it shocks people's systems, right? Our nervous systems are used to predictability, and that shock of connection and that shock of authenticity puts them into a couple different places. The first, it will say, this is what you've been looking for, possibly. You should trust it. And the second, which is what I was dealing with in that appointment, was
This real?
is this real? Do I trust it?
Mm-hmm.
I've been
Hurt before.
before. There's a little bit of fear from this kind of energy, right? And as an instructing, when you move into the energy of being an instructor, any instructor, which is what you're doing when you guide or teach a person, period, you're moving into the vibration of understanding the impact that you have in that moment, right? So it's like you get to be the mirror, but you're like the talking mirror in Snow White. And what you say is going to influence their whole day, right? Okay. Obviously, your main job is to understand that you can be that in a way that's beneficial to you, but you're giving them back a reflection of who they are and what they want to change.
But in a loving, kind way, because sometimes when you look in the mirror, we don't always see the best things that we love about ourselves when we look in the mirror. Sometimes we can see all of our flaws and only our flaws, things that we don't like and things we don't enjoy. So being that mirror to somebody else, you're picking up all the things that they may have flaws or worried about, that they're going to pick up on this, that, or the other, and you're pushing those aside and connecting and recognizing what it is that they need and guiding them with love in a way that they can actually recognize that these things that they're holding them back from seeing their own beauty, really who they are, the whole essence of themselves, and moving forward.
Well, it kind of took me back to one of my early practitioner classes where somebody came up and we started off fairly early doing the work, and I could tell they weren't able to like intuitively see the same with their eyes, but they wanted to. And they were looking around to how other people were answering everything, and they were trying to move through this pressure about what they were supposed to do to see, right? Because they were in that comparison mode of what was going on. And the reason it took me back there is because when we were working, there was that comparison of this is what I expect. This is sort of how belief work is supposed to be. And there is no supposed to be for belief work, right? There's really long ways and really fast ways. And just because there's really fast ways doesn't mean that that's the way. And just because there's really long ways doesn't mean that's the way either. And we do belief work all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And there are still certain types of beliefs that to get real understanding about what we're changing and to really understand what's going on within ourselves, we end up in the long way.
Sometimes you just have to understand exactly how each of them connect and where the bricks lay in order to get to that bottom belief, to be able to pull it out gently and go, okay, we're going to let them all fall now.
Because if you don't really understand everything that you're changing and you just say yes, then only
gonna come
parts
back.
can change,
Yeah.
right? And we don't want parts. We want a complete integrated movement forward with connection and communication of ourself. That's what we're moving towards.
The same thing happens when we're teaching classes or when we step from going into a practitioner into an instructor, where we're learning to guide somebody else and leading them to be something. We're not just understanding ourselves, but we are at the same time. Even when we're leading and guiding, we're learning things about ourselves and cues that help us understand how to best navigate to understand the person across from us and the best perspective that they have, because that's really all we're trying to do is help them, because that's what we do in this when we step into that instructor energy.
And then there's lots of different fears that go on behind it. Like, okay, we need energy exchange to move things forward. So we need the opportunity to connect and attract people, right? Because of our world being set up the way that it is, when we get a little bit, we get super protective of that little bit, right? We get a client or we get a student and we're like, well, they're my client or they're my student. And we try to keep them because we're like, oh, it's all about retention. But really, most business models in our world are not built by retention. There is some aspects of retention that are helpful, and you will naturally gain some from people. However, it's built from the opportunity to communicate and connect to more and more. And when we both first started doing this work, we sort of had the same problem. In fact, we've had many people comment when we will start to work or expand different business things that maybe we should not be as good as we are. We shouldn't maybe fix their problems because they don't come back.
Which isn't always necessarily true. They usually come back when they need the help, but it may be years, and that's okay.
There are lots of people that we haven't talked to for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then 20 years later, they say, hey, this came up. Can you help me? We're like, well, how have you been? We haven't talked in 20 years. And then they tell you how great it was and how many people they told how great it was and how those people told other people and how it kind of connected and communicated their journey.
Yeah.
When you show up, everything about that moment is about accepting sort of you're there and the opportunity that they're giving you. Okay, they're giving you as a practitioner, they're coming to you and saying, help me. And there's a chance there. There's this little moment when they say, help me. And this is why there's a lot of conversation about egotism. Because when they say, help me, your ego can get involved and you can go, great, you're going to see how much I help you. And when we talk about in this industry how it doesn't help you, it's because anything that you want to change ever never changes because someone else wanted it to and sticks. Okay, you hear this conversation all the time with people who struggle with alcohol or drugs or all these different things that maybe they can become addicted to. And you always hear they're not going to fix it until they're ready to change. And what that means is until they understand why they want to make the change for themselves.
Of course, that's with everything. They have to know the why and the how. What's going to make it advantageous for them? Why? Why are they changing? Not just for you, because I love you and you're going to, this is helping me and you say it helps me. That's great. Well, that doesn't really work with the inside. That may work surface, but that doesn't really work with the inside and allow you to see and recognize in your client to understand that that's really the reason why they're changing, because they have to have a reason why. We all have a reason why.
And a lot of time in all these situations in change and students in class, what ends up being the big thing that stops you from connecting and being seen for what you're bringing to them is that kick the can down the road kind of thing, right? Like, don't really know and turn it all over back to the person. You make it about you. You're just kicking the problem down the road again. Okay. Your students aren't there because you're the greatest. They're there because you're the answer for them if you unlock it in your connection to the seventh plane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You don't have to define greatest. You're always the greatest. You're always the best version of you. I guarantee it.
There are always people that you're going to attract that are meant to be with you.
And when you kind of understand that, you walk in and you go up to the seventh plane and you say, now what do I need to do for this group of people or for this person so that they can take over what they would pay me to do over and over and over every day for 3 years for their lifetime. And at first, maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense because you're like, hey, that's 3 years worth of a client expenditure, right?
But really, if that client gets everything that they need, what are they going to do?
You just became the thing that shifted their life to the one they wanted.
Yes. And now they're going to go tell everybody. When you have a product that you love, ladies, I know this because I do this all the time. We're like, oh, I love this makeup. It is the best ever. Or they're like, where'd you get that lipstick? Oh, you look amazing. And then you tell everybody where you got it. And it is the easiest thing you talk about because it just happens. It's just easy. Or I love that shirt, those glasses, whatever. And you just tell people all about it. And it's just natural. Same thing happens with healing.
It's sort of everywhere. The energetic exchange that we make, the currency that we have is energy. And if you can have your energy being moved around in the world and talked about in a way that is present, you will start to have connection and those other things really start to take care of themselves. They really do. Be present. Like, yes, I was there. And yes, I did guide you through. Those are true statements. That's not egotism. You were a part of the process. You helped guide them through it. Writing that, saying that, being able to embrace that is something you should do and should have credit for. But making those changes, doing those things, empowering that person to be themselves and want to learn more. Long ago, we understood that the way for us to move forward and create more things was to train people to do the things that you were doing before. Because otherwise, you got to keep doing it. Somebody's doing it. If you want somebody to make breakfast in the house, you train somebody to make breakfast in the house. Otherwise, you're going to always make breakfast in the house. You train them how to find the joy in it. You train them how to see the things that they want to do. You train them how to have the power behind it. You show them how to step into seeing how that will be beneficial for them. And then you let them and you don't look back. And we reach all kinds of problems sometimes when they start to, and we look back and we turn it into a competition.
Or we try to micromanage the situation because we want it only one specific way. And that one specific way is the only way that it actually feels good for you. But really, there's lots of different ways to do things because we're all so unique. And so when we train somebody to do something and it's different, allowing ourselves to take that step back and go, is it finished? Did it work? Did it happen? It looks good. It's amazing. And celebrate how people are different rather than how they didn't do it your way.
So we get a lot of value sometimes from our accomplishment and the idea that no one else should be able to accomplish the same thing. And it was kind of funny. We have this joke that runs in the family about accolades and accomplishment. And it was 7 or 8 years ago. We had just moved to Montana, and Dad Steibel was talking about how important it was. He wanted to be kind of seen for some of the stuff that he was doing. So what he would do is he would walk around and he would joke with everybody about what they were doing, and he would say, "Do you want a medal?" And they would say, "Sure, I would love a medal." And then he'd say, "Too bad you're not getting one," because he didn't get a medal, right? He did some belief work on it afterwards. And Raina and I are doing something with the horses, and they were succeeding. And he comes down. He goes, "Do you guys want a medal?" And I stared at him and I said, "No, we already have some because we have the horse ribbons, and then I have medals." And I was like, "No, we got plenty. We're good, thanks." And he kind of stopped and paused and stared. And then he asked a question. He asked a question about like first a little bit frustrated, then did some belief work and came back and he asked, "So like how did you get the medal?" And the answer was, "We didn't try to get the medal." Hey, with the horses, we weren't like, "Ooh, we're gonna go win first place. That's what we're going to go do." We were literally showing up every day and saying, "What does this horse need?
Mm-hmm.
What does this thing need?"
And the horse knew and could feel the love that was given to this horse. And you could see it in the horse. You could see it. It was obvious. People are the same way.
Yeah, I mean, it had our name on it, but it wasn't our accomplishment. It was a collaborative effort, right? And we get things like that still.
Of course.
You'll get things like that. You get things like that. You get recognition when you accept the fact that you show up and you accept the fact that you're doing things and you let people say, "You helped me do this," and you go, "Yeah, I'm happy to be a part of it." You take that little bit of thing. That's not egotism. That's your contribution, right? And so there's a balance to it. But at the same time, knowing that it's not about the accolade that comes at the end, and you shift the energy vibration and you make it, you want a lot of money, make it not about money. You have to think about money. You have to move with money to connect to professionals, to have conversations, and to take care of your stuff. But if you make the vibration of what you're doing not about money, people can feel it and it's easier to get money.
It's just like when we talk about having fear, if whatever it is that we fear, we're sending out that cellular communication that says, bring whatever it is I fear to me. Same thing when you're thinking about money or anything else, it could be felt, seen, heard. How do you want to put your signature and your mark out there and allow people to be able to heal in a leading and guiding way so that they're the ones doing it for you? Because it just comes naturally after that.
What was going on was he hadn't been given something that was an accolade that made him feel like his value was seen and heard and felt, and he was waiting for somebody to give him a piece of paper or an award or something that was going to make it all feel like it was worth it.
But really, that has to come from in here for every single person. We can't look for the validation from outside of us when we don't have it inside first.
We put $2 million in your bank account tomorrow. It's not going to make your life feel like it was worth it. It doesn't. It doesn't come with a connection that says, "Oh, that was worth it." Where we give you a gold medal, or we put you on the best TV show, or we put you in a room full of friends and they all talk about how much they love you. It doesn't all of a sudden take and fix everything in your life. It's going to feel great.
Temporarily, but then you still feel empty inside and you wonder why.
And the answer is
Why?
because you've never allowed yourself to give yourself those things.
If you don't have it within yourself first, the feeling of it fully, when it's actually being said, heard, the medals, whatever you're getting, the accolades, can't be felt because you've never given it to yourself first.
So not too long after, another friend came up and asked, he said, "Hey man, I would really love for you to train me. I know you guys do these different things. Maybe you could coach me. How much does it cost?" And I smiled and laughed at him and I said, "Man, you can't afford me." And I had a big old smile on my face. And he said, "What do you mean?" And I told him it that way in a very specific, for a very specific reason. And Raina did the same thing to him. The reason was he would not hold that value for himself. He would not see that he had value all the time. He would show up to situations and want to be recognized and want to be valued and ask to be valued. What do I do to be valued? And the answer is unlock it within yourself that you have that kind of value, and then see and treat everybody else like they do too.
And you don't really go seeking it after that. there because you already give it to yourself. You're not looking for it somewhere else. It's already there within. It's like wanting people to know that you're great. You don't need to because you already know.
Every single one of you that are here with us right now, and some of you we saw from just an hour ago. Hello again.
Hey again.
Every single one of you are the most valuable people in our world right now because this is where we are. We're right here together. You're giving us time and attention, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to see your face. We're grateful to have the opportunity to see the way you typed your name. We're grateful to feel your energy sitting there listening to us. The steps that you took to turn on the camera. I mean, there's a lifetime of experience for all of you that came in this moment. Okay. It's not just a moment, it is everything that's transpired that you learned how to turn on a computer, and everything that's transpired that you learned how to open a Zoom meeting, and everything that's transpired about how you decide to wake up for the day, and every feeling you've ever had about how you want to arrive in this moment. How do you want to turn the camera on? Which way do you want it to look? Raina adjusts the camera and makes sure that it has a very specific communication that lets you guys know and feel and see us in a way that she feels kind of shines through.
Today it was you.
Oh, today it was, well, both of us. It was both of us. It was a team effort.
Yes.
But all those things are coming into this moment. And that means that along the journey, everything that was learned and everything that transpired kind of brought that opportunity here. And we get the choice, right? This is where you get the choice to be pessimistic or you get to be optimistic, right? And the truth is, you can be pessimistic as long as you know that that's who you are, or pessimistically optimistic, right? It's about figuring out who you are and knowing it in every moment. But all of those moments brought you here. Both pessimism and optimism, your struggles and your successes, they're all bringing you to this time and this place, which means we then have a choice. Can we enjoy it together? Can we grow it together? Can we arrive and be the energy that we're all meant to be in this moment? And to do that, to step into it as a teacher or a practitioner means to accept it, right? Somebody's willing to click and do that. You accept that. You accept that exchange. You accept that level of responsibility.
And how they showed up and how you did.
And you embrace it within what your tools are, right? There's a wonderful thing that I've heard multiple times of people explaining to men who question whether or not they're attractive. And they'll ask things like, how do I know if this person is attracted to me? And they'll answer, because they're talking to you. Like they're looking for some sort of giant flashing sign, right? Bring, bring, bring. Here it is. This is the path and this is how it's going on. And they're like, but they keep talking to you. They keep engaging. They keep being there, right? One of the signs that that people care about a relationship is that they fight. Did you know that it's actually a more troubling sign if people don't fight in a relationship? Because it shows that they don't care. They don't care to communicate themselves, and they don't care enough to want to be a part of something with each other. They figured out years ago it's a much healthier thing to have people want to communicate themselves, to feel comfortable enough to want to communicate and belong and care to be a part of each other's lives. Because it means they want each other. They desire each other. They're just not communicating it in the best way, and they're working through it. So all these little things that we pick up as signals in different ways, and we go, oh, this is terrible, or oh, this is difficult. They don't have to be. Sometimes they're the opposite signal. And we can allow ourselves to step into that position, right? Look, if we're going to be a teacher, there's a chance that we might trigger you in ways that you've never been triggered before. And that might be what we're supposed to do. Now, we're not going to do it mean. We're not going to be like, oh, I'm supposed to trigger you. Let me show you how good of a triggerer I can be. We're still going to do it with love and kindness and
Mhm.
be true to ourselves. But that might be what someone takes away. We were teaching a class. We were in Brazil, instructor's class, and somebody came up and started asking questions.
But we teach a lot of classes, so I was waiting for which location. It's
Yeah.
like, well, which one are you gonna tell us about
Yeah.
today?
Which one? Which story? I understand. I understand. But we're walking in there and people come up and start asking questions. And I don't know if you guys know this, but in the United States, people sue all the time. It's our culture. Okay. There's even like regular jokes that
If you're not sued, you're not big enough.
yeah,
You're not
you're
popular
not
enough.
successful as a business yet.
Yeah,
You're just not.
it's pretty sad.
I mean, there's a whole culture of people because of the way our system is set up that are trying to get hurt so that they can sue to be financially taken care of for their entire life. We even have a term for them. Okay, we've taken grifting and we've turned it into that's what they are in the United States. Okay, a grifter in the United States is somebody taking advantage of the system to maximize their output, and there's a lot of them that use the legal system to do that. So they'll like jump behind people's cars sometimes to get hit by the car if they think they're wealthy because they want money. So this person's in Brazil and they come up and they say something about a lawsuit, and we lawsuits are part of business. You're going to open a business in the United States. It's going to happen. So if you guys are saying I want a business in the United States, when you go up and manifest, you're saying I'm willing to accept the fact that there will probably be a lawsuit at some point. Now, more than likely, it's going to be dismissed. Okay, years and years and years ago, somebody sued because they were given hot coffee and they won at first $200 million because they had their coffee hot. And because when the person gave them their coffee hot, that was ordered as hot coffee, they didn't tell them it's really hot. A group of people decided that this big corporation that makes lots of money, should give that to people who don't have a lot of money. That's what happened. And it took years, it took like 10 years for this thing to work its way through our system because our system is slow like that.
Mm-hmm.
And as it works its way through the system, turns out when you order hot coffee, it's probably going to be hot. That's what they finally said. If you order hot coffee, it's probably going to be hot. But because it happened and because it went everywhere and because the news was the very first pop of what was going on, lots of people were saying, oh man, you got to be really careful when you serve coffee because you're going to lose this much money. And then you would either have to explain that they didn't really lose, but it was easier to do something else. It was easier to just start putting hot all over the coffee cups. So if you come to the United States and you order a coffee, the cup says hot.
Yeah, we know that most of you drink Turkish coffee or Turkish tea, and it is good stuff, and we love it. And it is nothing like that here. So if you're more than welcome to just ship some on over here. Just kidding. That stuff is amazing.
Yeah. The company that happened to, their coffee says hot, 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 hot. It's everywhere, all over this little cup. It's on the lid. It's everywhere. They are not going to have it happen again. And you know what happened? They had it happen again.
Why?
And they had to go through the same process because those people saw them in a certain position.
Mm.
And inside that position, they saw a way to solve a problem. So this person is in class and they had heard about some different things that people had said. If you're going to grow and you're going to become thing, there's going to be people who say things. And people will always come up and say, someone said such and such about you. And we say, okay, good for them. And they go, "Are you angry?" We go, "No, why would we be angry? I don't know them. They don't know me." And I'm sure they had a reason for saying it. That reason probably made sense to them at the time. Then they ask a question, "Is it true?" And we're like, "Oh, no, obviously not. I mean, you know me and they know me, but that person doesn't. And that's okay. I hope maybe we get an opportunity to know each other and clear it up." So this person comes up and they had heard some different information and they'd heard some different things. And they're standing there and they ask the question, "Well, what do you say about this having happened?" And we go up and connect, and there's not an answer that you can give this person that they're not going to take and try to validate why they think that they're better than something. Okay. They basically thought they were better than theta healing and that they were going to use it as a launching point for their business to take off. And in that moment, we could have given them a ton of ammunition. We could have tried to defend it. We could have tried to say something else. We could have said everything right. And even as we were saying everything right and perfect, we would have had to have 45 witnesses that was saying that's what we said, because this person wasn't looking for us to navigate it in a good way. They were looking for something different. And that didn't make us not their teacher. Even then, we were still their teacher. So what did we do? We trusted the energy of the seventh plane. And then we spoke exactly what we saw from the seventh plane. Look, it doesn't matter what we say. You've already made the decision for what you're going to do with the information. We could point out all the evidence in the world that we have and that we can show, and that this is what transpired, and it's not going to change your opinion. So I appreciate you having the courage to ask the question, but we're not going to answer it. We moved on. And it was a couple months later that this person's causing all kinds of things, trying to start their own stuff. And one of the people who stood next to us and heard that answer from the seventh plane took care of it. They literally told everybody, "This is exactly what Josh and Raina said. Same thing we just talked about." They said, "We could show you these things inside the culture of the United States. There's a lot of things that just sort of happen in business that don't make a lot of sense in other countries. And if you ever want to come and actually learn, you're welcome to come and actually learn about it." And they told that to everybody. We ended up popping on a webinar and talking about it really quickly, answered 5 questions, and that was the end. It was all set in motion because we embraced the moment in trust to the seventh plane. Right? It's the thing I learned that first class. I think you learned it shortly after you were teaching. You go up, you connect, you know you're supposed to be there. You know your students supposed to be there. You know they've put you in that position where you're the teacher. And you know that as long as you trust and embrace the aspects of yourself with unconditional love and walk with it, you're going to be the exact situation that it is. That's why it's a mirror. They had already come up and saw the reflection of what was going to happen, and they were creating it.
And the map is that creation energy, listening, feeling, hearing, whatever, and following it. Allowing everything, yep, to fall in place exactly like it's supposed to. Because then we're having that seventh plane protection.
So yeah, we don't take it and break it. We don't take it and go, "Look at me," instead of the mirror. We go, "Oh, here it is. Here's your little mirror, and here's your map, and here's what you could choose to do with it. And then whatever you decide to do with it, I'm still here. I'm connected to unconditional love, and unconditional love is always going to see and accept your total experience and the truth of what you have going on, because it's your truth." Right? When you woke up today, how you felt, what was going on, those were all true things. 1,000,000% true in your world. There's a fun little exercise that we do at the beginning of Discover Your Algorithm where we put up little pieces of the picture and you put together what the picture is. And we always have to tell people, they say like, "Oh, I got it wrong," and we're always like, "No, you didn't get it wrong. You didn't get it wrong."
Yeah, it was perfect based on all of your experiences that you've ever experienced ever and the little bit of information that you had that we'd given you.
Yeah, you got more information. And hindsight is us looking back when we have more information and going, "Oh, I should have done something different." Instead of being able to look back and go, "Wow, what information did I not have and learn here?" We look
Right.
back and go, "Oh, I should have seen the information sooner."
Celebrate it as you do. That's the difference between when you go in from a practitioner to an instructor, where you get to gain so much more information because you get to have all of those things laid out for you, get to help see people that are studying in your class, recognize all the things that you've learned. And then you don't go, oh, I didn't know all those things before. No, you go, yes, I learned all these things. This is great. I can apply it. Allow it to happen and utilize it as, like Josh said, from our tool belt and move forward.
Yeah, and when we choose that direction, when we move forward in that way, and we embrace sort of who we are, we open up the door to attract more.
Yes.
We attract more energy by exchanging less energy. Okay, we start to use the vibrations that are higher, love and joy. And when you use those vibrations, they travel further, which means the signal of you goes further. It reaches more people, which means when you walk into the store and your little signals and vibrations are full of radiant authenticity and you love yourself, that signal is felt. And then there's some random person who's getting soup and watches you walk past in this vibration of authenticity and they feel it.
And then they're like, ooh, do I eat that soup? And like, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Especially if they don't really have it for themselves yet. And they go, oh, I'm going to try that soup. Maybe that's the first part.
And then you stir inside of them, they go, "I want that. I want that." And maybe they don't end up directly your client, but you change their life by walking. And you probably do that
Every day,
every day.
for sure. Because you're amazing.
Maybe even several times a day. You do it for your children, you do it for people close to you, but you do it for a bunch of people you never even knew. Because people always pick up on these things. And when you embrace that and you know that that energetic exchange comes that way, you just start creating and you start living in that connection. And the things that seemed like they were very, very importantly stressed out, that were taking up a lot of vibrational energy in your life, they become less and less. And then you get room to learn new things
Yay.
and lots of different directions and you move forward. So with that, we'll send you a few extra downloads.
We download that you recognize how truly amazing you are, that you can see miracles happen every day, that you can step into your leadership energy and recognizing that you can guide people to that unconditional love and just being your true authentic self.
And that you're able to see the presence you have in every moment, to find the connection of your path, to know how to embrace your path, align with it, and see and respect the paths and alignments of others around you.
Like those downloads, say yes, nod your head, whatever, we'll send them your way. It has been truly amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you, Gaia. We appreciate you for interpreting. That was awesome. It's always wonderful to connect with all of you. We hope you have a fabulous evening and we will connect again. Thanks, everyone.
You.
Teşekkürler arkadaşlar. Hoşçakalın. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.